Hangman Adam Page. It looks like Hangman Adam Page last night on AEW Dynamite has turned heel. Has he turned heel? What's going on? He cost the Young Bucks an opportunity at the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So much to discuss. Future plans. What is going on with Hangman Page? What is going on with the Elite? What is going on with the Young Bucks? How does Kenny Omega feature into this? How does FTR and Tully Blanchard feature into all of this? Well, we're going to be talking about it all. But first, let's have a word from one of our great supporters of WrestleNews 365. Support for WrestleNews 365 is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Now, Manscaped, for all of my UK fans out there, Manscaped just launched in the UK. Over here in the United Kingdom, we have gone for years and years and years without using the right tools for the job. But now you can be one of the first men in England to experience their life-changing product. But it's not just limited to all of the great fans over here in the UK. This offer goes worldwide, so all of my friends over in America and around the world that are listening to this offer still does apply for you. You can still use our code. But I've got to tell you a quick story first. Now, there have been so many times, right? I'm a guy. You gotta groom down there, fellas, right? That's the most important thing. You gotta keep yourself trimmed. You gotta keep yourself proper. And a lot of the time, I've been guilty of this, of using the wrong tools for the job. I've had incidences, I'm not afraid to say it, where things have been nicked, snagged, or in fact cut down there because I wasn't being careful enough and using the right equipment. Now that just shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. You don't want to be worrying about cutting yourself down there. Do you know how painful that is? I can tell you, it hurts quite a lot. And I wish and hope to God it never happens to me again, and it won't happen to me ever again because I'm using Manscaped products. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. Big statement, but it's absolutely true. They have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. It's also available around the world as well. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. So those cuts and snags that I was telling you about before are a thing of the past. And let me tell you, when I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes so you can get a longer, perfect shave. And not only that, you don't want to be cutting yourself and trimming yourself all over the bathroom, getting hair all over the place. That's just disgusting. The lawnmower has a waterproof technology that allows you to groom in the shower, so no more mess. And one of the coolest features, one of my favourite features about the lawnmower is the LED light which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming experience. So you can shave longer, you can shave more precisely, and you can shave in the shower. What more did I need to tell you? They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology, and let's not forget about the charging stand. You can show off your mower loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. So, if you are listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Let's get that bush to tush clean, and you can get 20% off and free shipping. Yeah, you heard me right there. 20% off and free shipping. All you have to do is use the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. Make your testes their besties. That's 20% off and free shipping. Not only are you getting 20% off, you're getting free shipping as well with the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code 365wrestle. Your balls will thank you. So last night on AEW Dynamite, a special Thursday edition of AEW Dynamite. Of course, Dynamite was moved to a Thursday this week because the NBA playoffs were due to be taking place on Wednesday. Of course, they did not, but Dynamite still took place. It was preempted and took place Thursday night live. It was the first time as well that not only had it been live in a couple of weeks, but the first time since March that we had live paying fans in attendance at 10% capacity. A lot of pictures went round about how they did the social distancing, how they had fans in pods and groups and things of that nature. So it was great to see the fans there. It was great to have the reaction of the fans in the building. When Chris Jericho came out, you had the fans chanting and singing along to Judas, the first time we've heard that in a long time. So that was nice to see. I did a watch along of AEW Dynamite last night, so if you want to get my sort of initial reactions to all of that, that's on the channel for you, for your viewing pleasure. I will say though, before we get into the Hangman Page heel turn, potential heel turn, still my view is the same when it comes to live fans being in attendance. I'd rather they not be there at the moment until we can figure out a way that it is completely 100% safe to do so. Then I don't think that's the right thing to do. Now, yes, social distancing measures, masks were worn, people who weren't wearing masks were thrown out. That's great by AEW, and it's great to see fans back in the arena and chanting along again, and they have truly been missed. And even at 10% capacity, it was nice to see them chanting along and enjoying the show. However, my biggest concern is, what message does it send to people watching at home? Does it give the message that we're not in a pandemic and we're not, everything's over and it's back to normal? Because that isn't the case. So that would be my only concern about it, but I don't really want to touch on that too much. That was just a thing from the top here. We're going to talk about Hangman Page and potentially turning heel. Now, Hangman Page has been kicked out of the Elite. Ooh, whatever that means. Now, last night on AEW Dynamite, we kicked off the show with a tag team gauntlet to determine the number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, facing Hangman Page and Kenny Omega at All Out on September 5th. Now, it started off with the Young Bucks defeating the Natural Nightmares, and then the next tag team that was out was the Best Friends to go up against the Young Bucks. Now, the Young Bucks seemingly had the Best Friends beat here. They had the Best Friends set up for the Meltzer driver. You had Nick Jackson on the apron, Matt Jackson holding, I believe it was Trent, it might have been Chuck Taylor, either or, it doesn't matter. But as Nick Jackson is on the apron, he's going to go for the Meltzer driver. He can't springboard to the top rope because someone is holding his foot. It's Hangman Page himself, the Elite member, one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions. He is holding Nick Jackson's foot on the ring apron. Matt Jackson then gets rolled up and the Young Bucks are eliminated. FTR are out next, and FTR would go on to win, defeating the Best Friends by submission. They tapped out Chuck Taylor to a submission. I think it was like a knee bar or something like that. And FTR are now the number one contenders. Still have yet to be defeated in tag team competition, in individual tag team competition, since coming to AEW, and they will be facing Kenny Omega and Hangman Page for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at All Out. Now, that was surprising, very surprising, and at the time, when it happened, Hangman Page looked very conflicted. He had a strange look in his eyes. He had the very dark eyes. He couldn't even make eye contact with the Young Bucks. It was quite surprising, very surprising. It's certainly I didn't see coming. Now, later on that night, if you're going to search for Hangman Page, where do you find him? Of course, at the bar. He's at the bar drinking whiskey. The Young Bucks come flying into the bar. They say that Hangman Page has changed. They say that Hangman Page never wanted to be a part of the Elite. Matt Jackson here was really hamming it up. I mean, really hamming it up. He was, at one point, honestly, he started going, I thought you were my friend. I thought you were my friend, Hangman. I thought you were our friend. Honestly, I enjoyed this segment, and I enjoyed the heel turn, what is perceived to be a heel turn by Hangman Page. I enjoyed that, but Matt Jackson here just sounded like the jilted lover at high school. Like his girlfriend has gone away, or boyfriend has dumped him, and he's crushed. He was devastated, and he winds up, after saying, I thought you were my friends, and then he says the big devastating line, you are no longer part of the Elite. Oh, whoa. Like, that was my initial reaction to that. I even did the same on the watch along of, you're no longer part of the Elite. Okay. Like, I know in the world of AEW, and I know in the terms of the factions, etc., that is a big deal. And I know to the Young Bucks and Cody and Hangman and Kenny Omega, that's a big deal. It's called All Elite Wrestling, right? And now he's no longer part of the Elite. But I think in reality here, if we live in reality here, if that was in real life and someone said, you're no longer part of this group, like you've been kicked out of the group chat, you would just go, okay, all right, is that it? Are you done? So I just felt that was such a weird, pro wrestling, right? You're no longer part of the Elite. All right, well, can I carry on with my drink here? He couldn't carry on with his drink though, because Matt Jackson then calls Hangman a drunk and throws the whiskey in his face. The Bucks leave. They slam the door to the bar, which then cracks and smashes pretty much a mirror that was on the wall. And then they zoom into Hangman Page staring into the cracked mirror. Now, I must say, that ending shot there of this segment was very, very good. I thought the production of that part of the segment, once I got over the whole you're no longer part of the elite line, once I got over that, I must say that I thought the production of the staring into the cracked mirror was very good, because it was very foreboding. It shows, it's a metaphor, isn't it? As I mentioned, Hangman Page, his look was different. He had a faraway look in his eye. He had dark circles around his eyes. He couldn't even really look his friends in the eye, and he's looking into the mirror, which is smashed, and it kind of reflects the psyche of Hangman Page, right? It kind of reflects his personality now. It's cracked. It's not whole. It's not what he was previously. So I really enjoyed that shot. I thought that was very, very good. I'm sure we'll see that on a lot of video packages to come. So, is Hangman Page heel now? I think going back to his eyes, they must have put makeup, right, or something around his eyes, because his eyes looked insane. Even on the watch along, it was the first thing I noticed. The first thing I noticed was, man, his eyes. There's something different there. He looks like he hasn't slept in days, or he's just a different person. So I thought Hangman throughout the night, even during the initial part of the match with the Bucks, after he'd held Nick Jackson's foot, he couldn't even look him in the eye. He kind of sold it as, I can't believe what I've just done, or he looked very, very conflicted. And then later on in the evening at the bar, he didn't really say anything. And the shot, as I mentioned, of him staring into the mirror, I thought was fantastic. So I thought Hangman Page sold all of this really, really well. I thought he showed a different level to his character that I thought it was very, very good. Now, to backtrack about this, Hangman Page hasn't really been with the Elite for a while now. At the start of the year, in January time, he distanced himself from the Elite, right? At that homecoming show in January was the first time that he kind of went, you know what, I'm going to be part of the Elite, but I'm kind of removing myself from all of it. And he would be drinking a lot. I think at the end of that episode, the homecoming episode, we had the show end with Omega, Cody, and the Bucks celebrating in the ring, but Hangman Page was on commentary, and he kind of just went, you know what, I'm happy to stay here. And since then, he's kind of distanced himself. Now, of course, when needed, he has been part of the Elite. He did compete with them at the Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing, chased down Sammy Guevara on a horse. He's been the tag team champions with Kenny Omega. Of course, they had the match against the Young Bucks at AEW Revolution. Just a fantastic match. One of the best, certainly the best tag team match in AEW history. Just a fantastic tag team match. If you've never seen that match, you've got to watch it, because it's very, very good. And at the end of that, they did tease the Hangman Page heel turn then as well. At the end of the match, remember, Hangman Page gets out of the ring as Kenny Omega's hugging the Young Bucks, and he teases going for the buckshot lariat, but he doesn't in the end. And that was kind of a foreboding of where things were going. Of course, since then, the world went insane. COVID happened, the pandemic happened and really picked up. And it kind of felt like these plans when it comes to Hangman Page, maybe turning heel or whatever, had kind of been put on hold, but it looks like we're getting back to where we left off, essentially, when it comes to Hangman Page. Now, I must say, this whole distancing from the Elite that they started at the start of the year here with Hangman Page, the idea was, in my opinion, we're going to get to a heel Hangman Page. It's going to give him this different edge, and it's going to thrust him more into the main event scene. However, I think something that they didn't plan for here is that since Hangman Page started distancing himself from the Elite at the start of the year, he's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And to do a bit of comparison here, Hangman Page in 2019 was popular. He was very popular, but he was missing something. To me, he felt like a guy in 2019 that was, he could be good in the future, he has to develop, he has potential, but he's missing something. And a lot of people couldn't really put their finger on what that was. I don't think, and I think a lot of people would agree with me here, I don't think he was ready for the spot at All Out with Chris Jericho in 2019. Remember, the main event of All Out nearly 1 year ago was Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho. The winner becomes the inaugural AEW World Champion, and a lot of people were surprised to see Hangman in that spot. I think people thought, okay, he can grow into it. Hangman Page is going to be a babyface that they're going to push, and they want to make a star. But when it came down to it, I think a lot of people thought, I just don't know if he's really ready for that. And ultimately, he wasn't. And I don't think he was a credible person to have in that match against Chris Jericho. However, darker version. If you put together version and darker, you get Durka, right? Put that on the shirt, Durka version. This darker version of Hangman, drinking a lot, doesn't give a damn. He's taking beers from the crowd where there was one. He got over. He got really, really over. He was popular. He got really over. And when I say like really over, I mean he was getting some of the biggest pops on the show. He was getting some of the biggest reactions on the show. He was absolutely one of the most over baby faces. And their long-term heel, their long sort of plan to turn heel, for Hangman to turn heel, had actually kind of backfired because it had actually rocketed Hangman into a babyface. And it gets to the point now where I think at this point, it would almost be a mistake to turn Hangman Page into a fully fledged bad guy. I think this version right now of Hangman Page, or maybe not the version last night, but the version prior to that, is very, very popular. If we had crowds right now, and of course AEW kind of does have crowds once again right now, but if we had crowds right now, he'd be one of the most popular guys, getting the biggest reactions every week on Dynamite. I have no question about that. And he still kind of does, even with the AEW wrestler crowd. Now, could Hangman Page be in a faction with FTR and Tully Blanchard? Absolutely he could. We've seen his sort of bonding with FTR recently on Dynamite. FTR, of course, are now managed by Tully Blanchard. We've spoken on this channel here about a Four Horsemen style faction in AEW. I pitched that it could likely be FTR, Cody, maybe Sean Spears, and then you've got Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. But there's multiple versions of that, which I think could be the plan. One of which could be, instead of having Cody in that centerpiece, you have FTR, Tully Blanchard, Sean Spears, and then you have Hangman Page as the main leader / heel in that group. Absolutely. And we'll do a video, a more in-depth video about that very soon. But for me, I wouldn't have Hangman Page be the one to turn heel here. I think the Elite should be the ones to turn heel here. And when I say the Elite, I don't mean Cody. Cody, to be honest, is probably less in the Elite than Hangman Page is. Cody's been doing his own thing for a long, long time. And he's not involved in this. He's off of television right now as well. He's doing his own thing. I think that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks should be the ones in this to become the full-fledged bad guys. Now, Kenny Omega, he's really one who looks like he's starting to turn heel, right? A couple of weeks ago on Dynamite, he brutally attacked Marco Stunt after the bell rang, and he got that look in his eyes, and it was the look in his eyes of, I think a lot of people were familiar with when he was the cleaner, right, in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Kenny Omega is another one. Kenny Omega, I don't think anyone would disagree here when we say that the Kenny Omega that we've seen in AEW doesn't feel like the Kenny Omega we've seen in New Japan. Now, I don't subscribe to the same reasons that some people are saying that, oh, it's because he's doing more jobs and he's doing this and that. I think part of the reason he doesn't feel the same as he was in New Japan is because he's more exposed. You know, you see him on TV every week, and the thing is with New Japan, especially over here, you know, you have fans of New Japan, but there's a very small pocket of people that are real hardcore fans of New Japan. And a lot of people over here are fans of New Japan, but they watch the big events. They don't watch every event. And that's just the case, and I think that's the case with Kenny Omega. A lot of these people only saw Kenny Omega in those big Tokyo Dome shows and thought this guy is going to come to AEW every single week, and that's not the case. It doesn't work like that. People maybe had their expectations too high. I do think he hasn't been used in maybe the way he should be. He should be involved in more main events, and he hasn't been. And he should be a featured player, and he hasn't been. So I think a potential Kenny Omega heel turn, getting back to the cleaner heel character that he had in New Japan, it would be very, very good for his AEW career, and hopefully that would get him more towards the main event, because I do think he should be in the main event. I think if you've got Kenny Omega on your roster, you need to push him hard, you need to have him competing for world titles, and that just hasn't been the case for Kenny Omega as of yet. So I do think that he needs to be pushed harder, and I think Kenny Omega should be the one to turn heel here, and the one with the Young Bucks. Now, Kenny Omega, of course, with all this happening last night on Dynamite with Hangman Page and the Young Bucks and being kicked out of the Elite, there was no Kenny Omega on Dynamite last night. And in recent weeks, whenever Hangman Page was getting attacked by the likes of the Dark Order, where was Kenny Omega? He was nowhere to be seen and often arrived late, and it was actually FTR that was making the save. So the Kenny Omega heel turn is still bubbling there nicely too. So I think it will be interesting. I still think at All Out we're going to have new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I think that'll be FTR. But I still have a bit of caution when I talk about Hangman Page turning heel, because I don't think Hangman Page is the one to turn heel here. I think there's something more at play. It really looked like last night that Hangman Page really didn't want to do what he did to the Young Bucks. He looks very, very conflicted. I think there's more at play here. And as I mentioned, in my opinion, I think that Kenny Omega and the Bucks should be the ones to turn heel and not Hangman Page. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Hangman Page potentially turning heel last night on AEW Dynamite? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys on this channel. If you've enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. That really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos before. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be another subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch, closing in on 800 subscribers on that long road to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you have already, just know that I really do appreciate it. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. The handles are on the screen right now. The links are in the description box below. It's at 365Wrestle on Twitter and at WrestleNews365 on Facebook and Instagram. While you're in the description box or you're in the comments as well, you can take advantage of our offer with Manscaped. Just use the code 365Wrestle at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. It's a fantastic offer. They're a great sponsor of ours, and you'd really be helping us out if you use that code. So thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.